Well, hello. I guess I have appropriate hair. Yeah, my hair is appropriate for the subject, I guess. I do kind of look ET right now, don't I? It's funny because this hair is actually purple and blue, but in here it looks blue and pink with this light on here. Nessie monster. Okay, good. We got Linda. Hello, Linda. And we got Micah and Richard and Pam I am. And Richard, let's see, Nessie Monster. Nessie Monster is in. Not Nessie Munster, but Nessie Monster. Okay, Marie is in. Okay. People are piling in. I think I look different again today. I mean, even more so than just the hair. I don't know. To me, I look different all the time. Every time I look in there, seems like I look a bit different. My own little personal Mandela effect. No, it's funny. I was on SOR and oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think I do. I don't understand it, but I think I do. I did get a lot of rest. I had a weird day again though, but I did get some rest. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, this style seems to look pretty good on me. Well, there's a little bit, if I may be slightly political, and I know you're probably really sick of any heavy duty politics, I do want to say that I don't think what we're seeing, not the way everybody was acting, this feels like 9/11, like another one of those. I think it was entirely premeditated. Yeah, it is. It is, Mary. Thanks, Nessie. Yeah, I'll take it. Now, you know, it's a funny thing. My husband married me. He just decided he had to marry me. And he just kept hammering away at it until he got me. You know, and I've told that story before. But the funny thing is, one of the things that I was doing was, of course, he would be asking me about things at work. And I would be, I guess he wanted a pocket oracle. You know, he wanted his own little oracle that he could ask questions. But one of the things that came up a lot was I would say, okay, you want to know what they're planning for you. You want to know what they're like. You want to know what they're like. That's what it was. You want to know what they're like. You don't want to know what they're doing. What are they accusing you of? And it never failed. If they would just be accusing him of something, be like, okay, what are they doing that's like that? Because they're projecting, so they're trying to like foist it off on you, right? Yeah, I think all men want a pocket oracle, right? Everybody needs one. Yep, you have a oracle to go home to and ask all kinds of questions. And most all the time right, too. Amazing. Better than a horoscope reading. But, so, it's an interesting thing to me that people are talking about using physical force and maybe even harm against the highest office in the land and calling what the other guy's doing treason. But I'm sure that this is another one of those cases. It's just like what happened here years ago. This was planned. I think this was planned. And it was planned because there wasn't any way, if things were fair, that, it would come out the way they wanted it to. It's weird. It's like trying to force an action. You did it, you did it, you did it. I doubt anybody said come in and use violence. You're only allowed to do that if you're in, that BLM group. That's the only time you're allowed to really use violence. But I think people are terrified. But now here's the other side of that coin. They keep doing these things that make people wonder that they know conspiracy theorists. They know that they're going to look at everything closely. And they had to know then. For instance, we'll rewind to the nurse that took the vaccine on the air and then fainted. They knew somebody was going to find her obituary. They made up a bunch of stuff about her having some rare condition. And then somebody finds her obituary. Now, they had to know that that was going to happen. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, that was to terrify a certain group of people. That's what that was for. That was planned too, I think. Because they knew people would be terrified because the vaccines roll. I said it. The shots are rolling out. Almost said it. So the shots are rolling out. And it's weird that they would let something like that happen if they knew that was a possibility, and I think they did, was it to terrify people enough so that they would rally? And then that sets it up so that now you can throw some people in there to make it turn weird and violent. Suddenly, you've got a riot, you've got an incident, it looks bad, and they're threatening the highest office in the land with violence and accusing him of treason. But that's high treason. Threatening the highest office in the land with violence is high treason. It's like, no, I'm going to call it treason first. I'm going to say treason first. It's like, wait a minute. You're also suggesting treason here. Isn't that, hello, pot, meet kettle? So I'm sitting here. Oh, I don't know. No. Yeah, he never comes in here, so I don't know. I haven't seen him in a few days. Usually he shows up at SOR, but then again, he got some new equipment. He could be off playing. He got new metal detector. He planned on going deep diving or something with it. Anyway, yeah, Justin. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about this theory of mine. Hey, it's just one more conspiracy theory to throw on the fire, right? He's probably out diving with his new toy, because that's what he said he was going to be doing. Anyway, so let the ET woo commence. Now that I've said my piece on that, and I do want to say, oh, you saw him. Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. Oh, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He got a new toy, Marie. And he said he was going to go use it. Pardon my coughing because I have allergies. I've been working on dusty stuff all day. To me, I'm looking at it and I'm going, gee, this is the same thing I was seeing years ago. It looks like the same kind of thing, just a different way, just a little bit different day, different names. Because they knew people would be terrified and they would rally. They knew it. They had to. And then, just like every riot that's ever gone this way, everything that ever has happened this way, somebody from the outside comes in and makes it an incident. And now, just always the same. Same old tricks. And people are buying it. I just talked to somebody today, totally buying it. Totally buying it. Anyway, we're talking about ETs today and aliens and abductions. You're allowed to do that, on this show for sure. Yeah. And I am pretty sure that my ex was some kind of alien. He had enough weird stuff about him. He could very easily be an alien, which, is kind of cool because I was in Starfleet at the time, which is a social club, but they have ships instead of chapters. So I was one of the founders. You want to know what a big geek I was? You know, that's interesting, isn't it? 7 in our group. There's only 8 of you here right now. So my counter says 7 of us get migraines. Isn't that interesting? Well, if the sun has been doing the hokey pokey, has been doing strange things, that can do it. And also having, you know what, I was so airheaded. I was saying to myself, if the sun ever put out that EMP pulse that they say, I wouldn't remember a dang thing. Maybe that's how we forgot. Is that how we forget? And then people come in and raid the place and take everything and loot and pillage. But yeah, I was such an airhead that if it was a stronger jolt, would we forget everything? I wonder. Maybe just long enough for a takeover. We didn't do the circle yet. We're going to. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Let's start the fire. Okay. Please find yourself a nice place around the fire. And while you're there, start throwing your baggage in there that's going to distract you. Just get rid of it. You can always go find more, pick it back up later. You can pick more up later. There's plenty to go around. Okay. Now, as far as this is concerned, as soon as I hear that I have my shop up and running, I have designed t-shirts with the Great Seal of Egypt on it, which is said to keep grays away. So very soon, if things go well, you'll be able to buy a t-shirt with the Great Seal on it for Pretty much a lot cheaper than I found on some other sites. It's a place called the T-Shirt Gang, but we'll see if they come through for me. And okay, hold hands, and I'm bringing in everybody's guide and everybody's guards and everybody's helpers and all our relations, everybody good and beneficial, and great mother and father, and the guardians of the directions, the realms. All of them, the elemental, the plant, the animal, the fairy, the God, the ascended masters, angels, the ETs, the inner earth, any of them that are good and helpful and benevolent. We appreciate your wisdom. We appreciate your knowledge. Okay. Hello, Todd. Okay, let me make sure it's nice and short up. And I want you also to individually put on your bubbles of protection, your individual ones. Going from the inside out, that would be copper, silver, gold. Make them at least an arm's length out. If you put your arms out, that should be how far out they extend. Oh dear. This sunspot activity always does things when the sun is doing things. Yeah. Once I found that out, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Oh, and Julia's here. So, everybody in their bubbles. And then I'm going to make sure we're in a great big bubble. Okay. That should be okay. It's ready. Okay. Now, you have the link. Somebody want to come in and talk about it? Good. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, like I said, I'm working on these things so that you can have them if you feel that you are in any danger of being abducted. Let me know. I am not opposed to sending you one of these to download and print if you feel you really need it. But once again, I am going to have t-shirts. So, and they're going to be in, the colors so far are black, gold, purple, and tan with the Great Seal on it. There's a couple of them in black. The really brightly colored rainbow version and the black version are both on black t-shirts. And then there's another rainbow version on a purple t-shirt. And there's the gold version is on a gold shirt, and the tan version is on a tan colored shirt. So that's a fairly nice selection of shirts for that purpose. If you want me to make another color, let me know, and I will. Whatever colors you'd like to see that symbol on. I also have one that I'm coming up with, that I came up with. Hopefully, I will have my shop up soon. That will say official Woo Crew, or official Woo Ship Crew. Yeah. Just in case somebody wants one. Yeah, me too. Black and red. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I didn't make a red one. I should make a red one. Well, I got to see how they're going to come out. I haven't. And they have to approve my shop, because it costs me something for the shop, because you have to buy, if you want to shop with them, you need if you buy the domain from them, they will make a shop for you. So I bought the domain from them. And the domain is going to be Oceans Shop. Oceans Shop. Yeah. Hardly anybody. Yeah, and a lot of people can't read cursive anymore. Yeah, they have them in Forex, Linda. Let me double check, though. I'm going to look. I'm going to see if they ever did get back to me, because Namecheap is supposed to get back to me. They still haven't gotten back to me. I'll have to find out why not. It's odd. Okay, that's really odd. Yeah, I like t-shirts to sleep in. They're nice. This is very strange. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me see what might have happened. So who wants to come in? Yes, the rotation of the earth is changing. It sure is. Oh, this is just lovely. It just disappeared. Did you guys ever get around to? Did you ever get around to making my shop? Oh, maybe. Oh, just great. You know what, though? There is a thing in this um, t-shirt gang. I was very surprised. They one of their in what they call integrations, one of their um, they called it WooCommerce. It's an e-commerce plugin for WordPress. I have a WordPress site. WooCommerce. That may be synchronous. So I might be doing this out of my WordPress site. Let's see. Uh, oh, they're still reviewing it. Okay, so it's still being reviewed. I'm tired of it. I am tired of the hour change. Why do we still do that? They always give us a reason that makes no sense at all. It is? Oh, that's right. It's Thursday. Well, if you want to go see that, we can do that. I can come back in afterwards. But only if you guys are going to talk about something like your ETs or something. I could talk about mine, but okay, we can go off for a while and go tripping down the path of Portal. Do you want to go do that? Oh, that's right. They're only going to be on an hour. I forgot about that. Yeah, they're only going to be on an hour. Well, if we're going to go, I guess we ought to go. Do you want to go now and come back? Yeah, the White House lawn. Oh, I remember. And a lot of us saw rioting and stuff go on. Yeah, several of us saw the rioting and unrest, people getting upset. Yeah, it was the White House lawn. It wasn't a game. Or was it? Maybe. Was it a game? Hmm? Is this a game? Are we just caught up in the game? It could be a game. Yes. Well, I'm getting that too. It's staged. This was staged. This was planned. This was planned to take Trump down. It was planned. 100%. Mm-hmm. Yep. Todd, you know, they're playing this all like it's a game. And yeah, I know, Aussie. I'm waiting to see if people want to go or if they want me to keep going here. Yeah, you saw the White House in the distance. You did. Oh, yeah, see, we all saw pieces of this. Oh, dear. I don't know how this is going to come out. I sure don't know how Donnie is going to get himself out of this. I do not know how he is going to make his way out of this. But if I turn out to be wrong, I guess I will be enormously wrong. But so far, right about everything else. Yeah, been right about everything else. So how in the heck does he get himself? How in the heck does it go from that to the rest of what we saw? I do not understand or know. Well, we did see rioting and we saw angry crowds and unrest, and we did see all that. We did. We also saw China trying to come in and take over and Russia trying to come in and take over, both of them doing their little bit to try and take over. Marie said they were locked down again. Who's locked down again? The Washington? I just think it's so bizarre that here we go again. They're planning high treason and they're saying that he committed treason. That is weird, man. That is so weird. Yeah, I noticed that too, Todd. You close your eyes and it's like a bunch of stuff is still going on. Yeah, Africa. And I don't know. It might be getting time to make sure you have a few extra things put by the way. Although I'm not getting a strong danger signal for myself. Like I have to worry about anything too much. There may be a few shortages or something coming up. But they would be coming up anyway because of Chinese New Year. They shut everything down for Chinese New Year, and it's coming up. So don't get scared when that happens. But yeah, bunch of aggression and punching and shoving. It happened on the White House lawn. And it also is going on in Africa, I guess. We've got plenty of it going on. No shortage of strange things happening. And then I wonder what kind of bid China and Russia will make. And I think that's another reason you'd want chaos. If you want to try to muscle in on somebody, then the ensuing chaos that's happening now would be just great if somebody wanted to pull something else, some other kind of a trick out of their hat. You know, it'd be like, oh, hit them when they're all chaotic. I think it was to separate people. You had to further divide people, you know, because already the sheep think the conspiracy theorists are crazy. The conspiracy theorists think the sheep are all hypnotized. And so they don't know what to say to each other. Oh, pardon me. Jeez. I know that my friend that I talked to, you know, there was nothing that was going to ever persuade her any different than the tangent that she's on, the path that she's been put on, that everybody's been put on that watches TV regularly. I guess that's the difference. Is like they say in the song, you know that the hypnotized never lie. Strangely enough, it was in a song called Won't Get Fooled Again. But you know what? Yeah, we did get fooled again. You know, me too. I looked at it and I said, yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that. As a Canadian, I take that as a compliment. And I think at one time it was. Yeah, don't don't feel threatened, says Linda. You don't feel threatened right now. Yeah. Yep. This is to try and take over. And they're trying to steer hate. They're figuring how to get people to hate on command, which is really, if you think about it, really useful. And they've gotten it. They've got them to where they hate on command now. Yeah, I thought we'd be talking about abduction stuff. Here we go, talking about politics. But it is scary. I think people are in terror for all kinds of reasons. Yeah, the only thing we can do, Todd, is to keep ourselves balanced. We can't really we can't really control what everybody else does. And that's something to remember. We can only control what is happening with us. So what it comes to is you can improve the world just by improving yourself. But you don't make an omelet without breaking eggs, and eggs are getting broken. Stuff is happening that we never thought we'd see. And once again, 2021 is getting even freakier than 2020. Yeah, leading by example. Well, now what? It's like I sit here and I look at it and I go, they have got people. There was a time when, they didn't even treat Georgie Porgy this way. Butchie Jr. And he deserved it but no, they didn't even treat him, and he was a terrible president. Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm getting sleepy again. Well, one thing's for sure. I don't think things are going back to the way they were anytime soon. And they're probably going to use this. They're even thinking of coming up with yet another amendment. I hear they're going to try and use what, the 25th Amendment, 24th, 25th? Which one is it? About the president being in sound in mind and body. Oh boy. I don't know, guys. I don't know how this 25th, yeah, that's what I thought. A quarter. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm sleepy again. So basically, we've got this absolutely horrible situation now. Nobody feels safe about anything. Except I'm sitting here yawning. I'm tired, but I don't feel like I'm physically threatened, by any of this. When I told my friend I wasn't taking the shot, that's when I felt threatened. by her, kind of. It's like, do this. The adjuvants and stuff in that shot would be more likely to do me in than the disease. Well, they have been using the Constitution for toilet paper for a while now. Butchie Jr. sure did. Yeah, I woke up for a little while today and now I want to go to sleep again. It's horrible. It's better today. It's definitely better today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was awful. Awful. Today I got something done. Yep, let them suffer. But they won't blame Gates. They're already blaming Trump for the vaccine too. You know, it's like Trump did it all. Somehow he's some mastermind of all trades and did all of it all by himself. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know how this is going to come out good. However, it's what it says. I'll ask again right in front of you. Here in this circle. Got my pendulum out. Put my phone off to the side here. I've got this nifty phone holder. Okay. All the usual conditions apply. Are you ready to work? Okay. And they call me Slarty Bartfast. No. Okay, good. Call me Ocean. Yes. Okay. We are on the positive timeline. We're on a positive timeline. It's going to be fine, no matter how it looks. Yes. We still are, somehow. Now that it quits spinning in circles, it stops spinning. Although it is still moving a little crooked, it's swinging definitely one way. Okay. And Biden's going to end up being president? No. Okay, stop. Cammie's going to end up being president? No. Pelosi's going to end up being president? No. She was talking about it. I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. Looks like somehow Trump gets vindicated and still does. Even though all this has happened and I have no idea. If I was just looking at it, I'd say, I don't see how the heck it could happen. Yeah, the adjuvants are killing medical staff. Absolutely. Yeah, the needle to stop the virus. It is. The Ed McMahon thing again. What, Pam? What do you mean? You mean the Mandela effect type stuff? Yeah, I know, Todd. Me too. The people are nice, but yeah, it's just, I can read. Yeah. I mean, what we do here is really in the moment live. Um, it's not any canned anything. We don't do anything canned around here. This is as we go along in our lives. This is what this is life. Um, and I guess you're feeling political tonight. That's okay. If that's what you want, I thought maybe you'd be sick of it. So I didn't want to make it about that, but I know I am certainly. Hi, Pappy. Okay, let me ask. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how this is ever going to work out. I just don't know. But everything else we've seen has happened. Well, not everything, but stuff is happening as we have seen it so far. Are we ready? Okay. Biden passes away. Yes. Is it intentional? It's intentional. Yes. So somebody does him in. It's been saying, stop. It's been saying, whoever, what I kept getting, whoever is the president of the United States, and it doesn't even matter who, there's a plan to get rid of them. Whoever it is, doesn't even matter. Yeah, yes. I've been seeing that, and it doesn't even matter. But it says Kamala will not be president either. So what's that about? Who does that leave? Where do you go from there? Yeah, Pappy, I think one way or another, it was always planned for him to go. I'm sorry. That he was slated to go. They were just using him as a bargaining chip. That's all he was. That's all. To get to have somebody to throw in there to get elected. That's all it was. Yeah, everyone's expendable. I hope none of them think that they're going to be miraculously saved, because I don't think so. Of course, they could always fake it. But I think we're being played from all angles. I think we're being played. I think that whole nurse feigning and then death, I think that was a play. I think so far every darn thing has been part of the play. Yeah, there is something strange in the ethereal realm. No kidding. No, I asked Pelosi. No, it isn't going to go to Pelosi either. Pelosi. Nope, Pelosi's not going to be president either. But I don't know if anybody would take that. You know, God, I don't know. Then there would probably be some kind of mass insurrection. Really, Lewis? Recently? You want to come in and tell us about it? Well, I know one thing's for sure. Well, Satan and Lucifer are not the same person. And the Antichrist, not all the same person. And besides, I kind of think it looks more and more like that stuff already happened. The stuff in the Bible already happened. And we're living in the aftermath. Yeah, me too. This place is clear and I'm keeping it that way. See, that's it. If you want to topple a country and you can't do it militarily, how do you do it? Financially, we have been smacked. This was nothing less than an attack on America. Not just an attack on Trump or Trump followers, not just an attack by Trump followers. No, none of that. This was an attack on America to cause a lot of chaos. And then, like usual, while that's going on, the hidden hand goes as often, because this will be all you'll hear in the media. This will be probably all you'll hear about, and it serves the same purpose as a celebrity trial, which they're probably going to make it a celebrity trial. They're probably going to try and put Donnie on trial yet again. Even though last time they did it, they couldn't find one damn thing, which is pretty weird for a politician, you got to admit. I know, I can't stop yawning. I'm trying so hard. Yeah, what if it is? And that's the whole idea is disruption, disruption, disruptions. They're weak now. Now we can move in and do stuff. Yeah, it's been a Cold War. I'm telling you, it's a Cold War with China. It's a Cold War with China. Unannounced. But that's what it is. Started with 9/11. Actually, the creeping Chinese stuff happened before that. But yeah, when they really started upping that for 9/11 was really when they started. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Strange. Yeah, Desert Storm. Remember that? We supposedly won that. Hmm. Interesting, huh? I think I need to get some salt. I will in a minute. I'll go up and try it. Go get some salt and try it. Okay, your opinion. Who's masterminding this? Trying to put awakened people back to sleep? Could be, Pappy. I wondered that. But there's always a hidden hand. So, in everything that happens, oh, we're lucky we're talking about it now. They haven't made any rules about not talking about this either. Yet. That'll probably be the next thing you're not allowed to talk about. Is anything surrounding this? Trying to get people to go back to sleep, trying to get people to be so lost in fear that they can't think straight, that, boy, and it's not hard to do. Terrify the crap out of everybody and then seed the field for chaos. Well, oh, I'm gonna have to go try it. You know what? Hang on.
Time because the little.
Okay. For good men to do nothing. All, yeah. So people went and did something, and now people went and did something. They got in trouble for it. Yeah, this has been long before Trump got into office. Well, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm going to go try the salt trick. Meanwhile, how true. I put my thinking cap on. This is my thinking cap. Okay, I tried the salt. It's garlic salt, so I hope that works. Yeah, we need each other. That's what I said. We can't we can't put all our eggs in one basket. We can't hope that one person is going to solve every problem. It's us. It's us getting together, which is the thing that's really scary. Us getting together seems to be the thing that's really scary for some folks, is because if we get together, we ever get together on things, guess what? Some of this crap is going to be gone. I mean, if the human race could ever agree. Oh, didn't it have a sound? I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, it's hard when everybody's well, see, that's just the point. That's why they're trying to keep everybody apart. Like I said, if we ever got together, if we once get together, put all the pieces together, get all our wagons in a row, Pilgrim. I mean, get all our wagons in a circle. That's how John Wayne used to say it, right? Get all your wagons in a circle, pilgrims. It's about to get violent or something. I don't know. Yeah, you can talk about ghosts or cryptids if you want to. Yeah. You entertained yourself. Isn't that cute? Did you play with yourself? I mean, well, That would be entertainment, I guess, but never mind. Okay. Yeah, see, they really want us divided. I think everything's been divisive on purpose. I think the more divided they can get us, the better. That's what they really want. That's what the takeover, the people wanting to take over. If they can get riots to happen, then they have a reason to bring in National Guard. They have a reason to declare martial law. They have, all kinds of things they can do, all kinds of fun they can have with that. He said, gee, that's another thing I would see when they would invade groups, because sometimes somebody would invade, and I don't know if it was always the religious right, but I would be in spiritual groups, and I've seen several. I was in several. I was in about 5 of them. Spiritual groups, and even one of the last ones that were basically solving these problems that people were having. There was a time when I was with the group that Brent kept calling to when people were in trouble to solve it. And I think it even broke us apart because, but I kept seeing that happen. And people would suspect everybody else of something. They would start to suspect that each other had, bad intent, whereas before they were friends. And that's okay, Pam. Thanks so much for being here. And have great dreams, will you? Try to have good dreams, love. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, it'll be fine, Pam. You'll see it. Anyway, oh yeah, it's 10:49 if you got to get up for work or something. Yeah, hugs, sweetie. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really need all the help I can get. I really do. Oh, you like the hat? Yeah, this is my thinking cap. Yeah, divide and conquer always works, doesn't it? And each of the groups that I was in went through its trial by fire to see if they could get everybody mistrusting each other. And actually, one of the main ones, they got a guy who owned a bookshop to start pitching his books because he was worried about them. And I thought, that's really weird. It was a bookshop, a metaphysical bookshop. And they had him pitching out all books on a couple of different subjects. Hugs, honey. And you can't spell. You like that hate? There's no hate. I don't hate anybody. I knew you meant the hat. Anyway, yeah, I have seen a lot of weird shit go down in my life. People trying to destroy spiritual groups and split them apart. And a lot of times it succeeds because people, if only we had, like I said, we have got to get our abilities back. We got to get to the point where we really can't be fooled again. Hidden, oh, you were on Hidden Existence again? Mm. Seems like hidden existence is kind of trying to pull you over there. Gonna have to go and beat her up. I'm not gonna beat her up. Oh, well, he just said last night he was on Hidden Existence, the Bigfoot Cafe show. Yeah, oh, okay. They're trying to steal you. You can come in here and talk about that. I don't have any problem. The only thing is like I said, I see so much, I hear so much Sasquatch stuff that unless I'm hearing a real story right from the person, that's it. I don't want to hear a bunch of reading. I don't want to hear a bunch of the same stuff that I've heard a million times again. Yeah, I saw the end of that show. I saw it a little late, but it was, I still got to re see that show. That's another thing I got to do. Well, anyway, I tried to buy a t-shirt shop. I tried to buy a domain name to get a t-shirt shop. But if they don't get it up, if they don't get that up and going, I'm still trying to get it addressed. But if not, and you guys want to download, I could get prints. I could get my friend Paul to print some if you can't print it out for yourself. Or I could make it in a format where you can put it on your desktop or your phone as a wallpaper. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I mean, anything that makes you hard to control. That's the thing, is that you know, anything that makes you soft and malleable and soft-headed, that's good, right? Honestly. Yeah, it's all about control and power and manipulation. Well, he's in a prime spot as far as I can tell. Well, I did for a little while, strange, and now I'm about to do it again. Now I feel like I'm about to do it again. I might have to go and do some more salt, man. Man, get some salt, man. You got some salt? See, that's just it, Todd. Really, we don't until we look back on it. We go, wow, I really have been through a lot, haven't I? I really have had a lot of experiences, haven't I? Um, hell of a lot. Yeah, me too. It's sort of, hi, Chris. Hi, Cookie. Yeah, it's weird because I didn't either until somebody invited me to come on Paranormal Portal and to see it, watch it with the rest of them. And I don't see those people anymore. But the weird thing is, it reminded me of how many weird experiences I've had, as these shows do. And when I saw a Sasquatch show, it's like, holy crap, is that what happened? Is that what I was seeing? I always wondered about that. What was that? It was Sasquatch. So I've been around Sasquatch all my life and didn't know it. Didn't know that's what it was. Never thought of it. Never thought of it. For a minute, I read that strange and I saw my man cookie. But you meant my man cookie. Oh. Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of travelers that come here that we don't acknowledge. Honestly, I think there's so much here in this world that goes on. And how, when you think of it, how in the heck do they convince people, except through, shaming and ridicule and everything, to shut up about it? How do they convince people that this stuff isn't true? And I know, I think Pappy will corroborate this. Native people know of the existence of these things and have known and have always known. However, why would you try to explain it to anybody who's just going to laugh in your face and call you crazy and call it superstition? Why would you bother to try? Yeah. Yeah, because the Earth has its meridians. Now, that's another thing about the Tartarian Empire. I'm going to bring this in again. It had a grid work, an energy grid work all over the world. And it's not known exactly well, people do know, well, people have figured out how some of this was done. Yeah, the ley lines. That's why New Orleans is such a spot, is because it is situated, the points where the lines cross are called nodes. And on nodes can form vortexes. It's a major node. There is a major node down there. And not just two lines crossing, but I believe it's 3 or 4 cross there. I believe it's 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. But they cross there, and it's like a spider web. It reminded me of a spider web. Oh, doggone, it didn't last long, Todd. I need more salt. Yeah. Oh, I always had things going on, but then I always lived near a ley line. But here in Ohio, there's another nexus. Yeah, there's another big nexus. So we have weird here in Ohio. There's a few, I think. I'm trying to remember what I saw. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of activity here in Ohio. It's just down in New Orleans, it's like Ohio, but more. And it's so much more that everybody just brushes it off. Like, nothing strange about this. And that's weird, isn't it? One of the weird things. It's just, and the Tartarian civilization had everything lined up on the grid, had all of these things called star forts. Let me see if I can find you a star fort. Um, okay. Okay, here we go. Ancient star forts. Now, they want you to believe somehow that these structures were built by very ancient, very primitive people with nothing but, look at some of these, with nothing but just maybe stone knives and stone chisels, or maybe copper chisels at the most. But they did all this. Look at these things. They're really beautiful and incredibly complex. And some of them look like a star on top of a star on top of a star. Like this one up here in the corner. And, you know, it's kind of amazing. And then these structures here. Supposedly all this happened. Very primitive people did all that, plotted that all out. Are they freaking kidding me? How did we ever believe that? How did we ever believe it? It's so elaborate. And then you can see how some of them, you can see them under the dirt. They're not, they have been flooded. They have been mud flooded. This goes back to the mud flood stuff. Some of these places have been buried in mud, partly buried, and people can see them only by virtue of the fact that we now have a different scanning technology to be able to see things under the surface. But it's not just the ones you see. They also are lurking all over the place in places you can't see them, under a bunch of silt and mud and debris. And they were all over the world, literally everywhere. And they were along the meridians. And look at how elaborate. And always in that eight-sided shape there, this eight-sided shape was, remember, from Turkmenistan, the gates of heaven. That was always the gates of heaven. The eight-sided here, I believe this is another, is this a 6 or an 8? Six. This is a 9. And they say, yep, there's another 8-sided. Yep. But this one's 9. This must have had a special purpose. And then this one's a 5. And they would have been different harmonic frequencies. This one in the middle here is an 11, based on 11. So these would have different frequencies associated with them. And some people are saying maybe that's even how they were created in the first place. Something to do with sound. So, oh dear, doggone. Anyway, it's amazing what these very primitive people did. Yeah, I've always been in the thick of it. Yep, sacred geometry, absolutely. Maybe you really need orange juice. Maybe you really need it. Maybe you need vitamin C really bad. Yeah, maybe stress. Been very stressful, hasn't it, the last few days? Yeah. That's another interesting thought, isn't it? Star people, literally and figuratively. Yeah, now we have satellites with ground penetrating radar. We can find all of them. Oh, Chris. Never mind. It means never mind. Never mind. Oh, you know. Oh, whatever. Never mind. He's being funny again. He's making a penetration joke. He said penetrate. Anyway. So basically these structures, if you look at them, and they're beautiful, and then you also look at the in the Tartarian book that Titan sent me, it talks about how they also had, you know, the rose windows in the churches, the stained glass windows, and they were always actually they were, come to think of it, and this makes just all kinds of sense. Maybe they'll show some of it here if I have some more images. But they come up with the same mandala-like patterns. And what is a mandala? Right? So the mandala could have really a lot more going on with it than just what we're told. The idea of the mandala could have sprung from the cymatics or sound signatures of a place. Here you see a griffin, by the way. And the griffin, like in Gryffindor, like Harry Potter fans, I love this. was a symbol of Tartaria, one of the symbols of Tartaria. And it was often a female griffin. Oh dear. Yeah, it's really trying to put me back to sleep, isn't it? I refuse. I'm staying awake. Oh, here. Coin. You notice the owl. It's another thing, the owl, which makes you wonder, right? The owl. Mhm. There's another one with a griffin on it. And now we're wondering if perhaps griffins really existed at one point. After all, would you believe platypuses? Oh, and here you go. A so-called giant standing with a couple of other people, Indian people, right over here. You can see how he would be considered a giant. That guy right there. See if we get a bigger picture of him. And you can tell that those are full-grown people there with him. And you could tell by how far his head sticks up above the picture of the tent there and back. Really something, huh? It's interesting. And this was a typical size with the right conditions. We could be that tall again. It wouldn't be impossible. Now, the other thing is the lion and the unicorn. Now, the lion we know is a real creature and living. The unicorn is not, but at this time that we know of. So what would they have, a mythical creature and a real creature? Or maybe the unicorn was a real creature at one time. Maybe it wasn't just strictly mythical. Maybe it was absolutely a real thing. And maybe even, oh geez, this is bad. Maybe even the idea of Pegasus has something to do with this, because the griffin being more than one animal combined. So it's completely possible. I think unicorns were real at one point. I think they existed. Maybe they just all went home. Who knows? We don't know. Direction to the Templars and the Lost Treasure, or First Temple Items, Ark of the Covenant, Menorah or Table of Showbread. Excuse the spelling, that's okay. Right. Well, supposedly in Tartaria, they averaged something like 8 to 11 feet. Oh, wow, too bad. That might be Tartarian stuff, Strange. God, you hope you still have them. Yeah. Once again, I'm getting I'm going to be getting a bunch of, I'm kind of gambling a little bit here on this, but I'm getting a bunch of silver material. Yeah, Andre the Giant was 7 foot tall. So he was just a small one compared to some of these people. Oh, really? Yeah, I vacillate between 5'8" and 5'10". But my cousins were all over 6 feet on the one side, on the one branch of my cousins on my uncle's family. They were all over 6 feet, except for one. That's true. There was one that was not. And, oh yeah, Zulus are huge. They're tall. Oh, hang on. Now you're going to make me. Yeah, you can have it for a while. But the Zulus are huge. They're 7 to 10 feet tall. They said, the one guy said that I talked to online said their people range normally from about 7 to 10. So, what does that mean? Their people range
Hello,
from about 7 to 10.
Hello.
So,
Hi.
what does that mean? Something happened.
Can you hear me?
Oh, really well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't go on the camera because I'm dressed in my sleeping attire. Casual sleep pants and t-shirt, and I shaved my beard off. I just left the goatee. It had the jaws itched off me.
Okay, so do tell. People range from about 7 to 10.
You can hear me okay now, though, hey?
Yeah.
That was me just being silly with the hello. I didn't know if I was connected at that point.
Oh, well, I got disconnected for a minute.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I ended up hitting some wrong button, which is easy to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on something that, thinking about, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Oak Island show. It talks about possible treasure at the bottom of a pit going back a
Really?
little over 200 years. Oak Island being an island in the North Atlantic off of Nova Scotia and eastern Canada. Um, yeah, it's really interesting. There's all kinds of different conspiracies. They say that it's possible uh, pirate treasure. There's possible stuff that was buried by the Knights Templar after they basically got shot down, and Jacques de Molay, who was the head of the Templars, ended up, I think they burnt him at the stake. And he actually cursed the Pope and the King for what they done. And at that time, I believe there was two popes. But in France, he basically said as he was dying that both of them would die within a year. And I think the king ended up dying of in a hunting accident, I believe. I think the Pope might have drank something, or I could be totally wrong, but thinking back. But as for the treasure, I mean, where I'm located, there's a lot of similarities, and a big back during the Elizabeth, how would I say this? Queen Elizabeth, Elizabethan time, back in like 1610 around there. What's that?
How do you mean Queen Lizard Breath?
Back in 1610, there was a colony here in Newfoundland that was, it's called Cupid. It actually had its 400-year celebration there a few years ago, but it was called Copper's Cove at the time. And an English guy, John Guy was his name. He actually set up a plantation in Newfoundland, and he was part owner of a company called the Newfoundland Company, which was bringing fish back to England. At the same time, Francis, yeah, oh God, what's your name? That wrote Shakespeare, or what they figure wrote, Sir Francis Bacon. Yeah. So anyway, basically, he was part owner of this Newfoundland company as well, bringing in fish. But there were certain parts of Newfoundland that John Guy actually went, and he was doing an awful lot of extensive research into checking the area out, basically where the native Indians were and stuff like that, in one particular area. And that one particular area is very close. What's that?
And all Chris heard was bacon.
Sir Francis Bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said bacon, because at the time I couldn't remember. Yeah, so anyway, there was a good bit of conspiracies or conspiracy theories that are put out, stating that well, maybe like here at the Interpretation Center, John Guy's got all of these. He's written documents, these memoirs of the plantation that was here. But I spoke to a guy a few years back that was into the Oak Island thing, and he studied linguistics and something else. He teaches at a university. And he was telling me a lot of Shakespeare, which they figure Sir Francis Bacon was the one that wrote it.
Right.
And it wasn't Shakespeare at all. That the notes at this interpretation center that are in plastic or whatever or on display, the writing is very similar to Sir Francis Bacon. So Francis Bacon being one of the owners, I believe, of the Newfoundland Company, that John Guy was also bringing fish back to England for the Queen and I guess the people of England. Maybe Francis Bacon was over here. So thinking back on it, there was some key. I read some. I done a lot of searching and stuff, and there was key places in my area around where I live that there was different times when the local indigenous people, the Indians, actually met with John Guy and this type of stuff and traded off things and whatnot. I came across some big rocks on a piece of land very close to where John Guy and the natives met. Some of these rocks had, it looked like drill holes into them or chisel holes into them.
Yeah.
Two of them actually were lined up when I rubbed them down and done a few odds and ends with it and put some water in it on. It actually lined up with the, is it the symbol, the swan, which is in the sky, the constellation is known as the swan, I think.
Yeah, there is one that's known as the swan, but I can't remember.
Yeah. But anyway, that's one thing I think was,
I can't remember what it is.
yeah, I think it had something to do with Francis Bacon and some of the Shakespeare stuff. There's mention of it. So, personally, without going into too much detail, maybe there was more of a reason if Francis Bacon was over here and it wasn't, or he was with John Dye, and that's where the initial writing memoirs and whatnot pretty much are lined up and look the same as what Francis Bacon used, or obviously possibly writing Shakespeare, which is really interesting. But maybe there's some sort of a sacred knowledge over around where I'm too, where I've come across some pretty strange things that maybe that's what they were searching for. And the when you think of Sir Francis Bacon, you think of the Rosicrucians. I think that's how it's pronounced. The Rosicrucians, the group or secret society.
The Rosicrucians.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
the
it.
meaning being Rosy Cross, yes.
Yeah, he was the head of that, I think, or the founder at one point. See, I could be wrong on some of this. I'm just thinking back on what I.
Demolay,
What's that?
Demolay, or was it?
No, Jacques de Molay. He was the head of the Knights Templar.
He was the Templar, right? He was the Templar.
Yeah.
The
So
rest-
anyway, they say that when the Templars were busted or brought in, and a lot of them were killed and whatnot, they say there was X number of ships that disappeared with treasure, loaded down with treasure and whatnot, and some of it came to Nova Scotia here in the coast off of Newfoundland. It's the most easterly point that's joined the land in North America would be in Nova Scotia. Whereas I'm in Newfoundland, which is the most easterly point to England in North America total, being a separate landmass as an island.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, anyway, I don't know if any of that made sense, but
Well, it made sense to me. I guess it's making sense to people out there too, because they're commenting.
yeah, I spent quite a bit of time over the last few years, and I was see the thing here in Newfoundland. There's an actual little island in Placentia Bay, which is there's 365 islands in Placentia Bay out around where I'm to this area.
Really?
So one for every day of the year. But they also say there's 365 islands off of Nova Scotia.
Really?
But there is an island in Newfoundland, in Placentia Bay. It's called O'Dearn. So if anyone wants to look that up, you'll see. And it was pretty much there's a small pond down by the ocean. This is only a little small little island where it was a plantation for a French family. I think Lafosse was their name. There's a small island or small pond by the edge of the ocean on that island where they say about 20 feet down there's actually oak boards. Whereas in Oak Island, there was also levels of oak as it went down in this so-called money pit. And apparently here in Newfoundland, there was a guy came up from the United States back in the early 80s. I don't know if I read this or if I was told it. And he tried to dredge out this small pond to see what was underneath it. So I guess he was thinking that the same thing might have been linked to the same as what the treasures or that might have been hid by the Knights Templar. So it was very, very interesting. So that being said, let me see what. Just give me a second.
Columbus was related to a Templar family. They now say he may have not been Italian, but a spy for another country. Being related to a Templar, he would have had knowledge beforehand of the U.S.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I'd say North America was known about long before they had to go back a few hundred years.
And Linda says, nothing surprises me anymore. We know all or most of our history that is told is BS.
Yes.
And that's 100% true.
Oh, for sure. Newfoundland itself was discovered at a different time by Jean Cabot. John Cabot. He actually he was Portuguese, I believe. But that was in 1497, probably. When was when was North America? 1492? Perhaps discovered?
1492, or yeah, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, Newfoundland was discovered around the same time, but I mean, the fishery and stuff here, the Portuguese, they fished here going back to like the early 1500s.
So so Newfoundland was the same time.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
here's the other odd thing with they also say that Oak Island. So if it's not the place where Francis Bacon's where his remains are to, I mean, there's theories that he's buried there on the island in some sort of crypt underground, or if it's a the Knights Templar treasure. They say it could be possible pirate treasure. Now here in Newfoundland, there was a pirate.
Arg, pirates.
his name was Peter Easton, and he had his main stay area was in a place called Harbor Grace, which was basically about 5 nautical miles from where John Guy set up the first plantation in 1610. So two of them operated at the same time. But apparently the French fishermen came in to Harbor Grace, where Peter Easton was, and basically they give him a hard time and start burning stuff up. So Peter Easton, who had apparently 40 ships, he had this other place that was on the other side of Newfoundland, right next to small little island, right next to O'Dearn, where this treasure is supposedly laid out by the same as what it is in Nova Scotia. So if that's the way it is, that means as a pirate, and John Guy had 40 ships, maybe he took some of his treasure and buried it on that island, O'Dearn. So if he did, and he buried it in a way that is laid out with these different levels of oak and going down and all these underwater and under in caves and whatnot. If that's the way he set it up, perhaps, and it's the same as Oak Island, well, maybe he, as a pirate, knew about or actually put something else on Oak Island as well.
Maybe.
So is that clear as mud?
Well, Chris says, matter of fact, the First Nation tribe that lives near Oak Island has had a flag for the symbol of their tribe that has Templar crosses on it.
Yeah, they do. Actually, it's
had that symbol for hundreds of years.
Yeah, that's where I forget his name, came over from Scotland, because they figure some say that the Knights Templar, when they left, they went north up into Europe and ended up in Scotland, where I think they helped like Robert the Bruce and whatnot down through time in these battles to win and all this stuff, where they were knights. So Chris, I think Chris knows a little bit about this stuff as well. So seeing he had some stuff on me.
Studying.
What's that?
Yeah, it seems like Chris has been studying too. And Pappy says the Abenaki people talk of the red-haired white people that came well before Columbus sailed. And the book on Tartarian that I'm reading says, yeah, that is true. There were red-haired people here and black people also.
Yes, so the red-haired people will be the Scottish, which I guess would be Robert the Bruce or someone that's related going back. And then you're talking about your Lincoln and treasures, like where they say there's certain symbols in Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland that's tied to the Knights Templar. So it's like really, you think about it, like a triangle. You go from down in France or one of the ports where the Templars left, you go straight up, then you cut across on an angle and you come to Nova Scotia, and you can put a straight line pretty much back over where they started.
Yeah.
So,
True. Because Linda said, we are finding that there are many other people before Columbus have visited here. Well, my own, on my father's side, the Vikings.
Yep.
There are indications that there were Vikings here.
Yeah, Vikings landed. There's a Viking settlement in Lansing Meadows up in the northern peninsula of Newfoundland we're on to. And it's actually, it's pretty interesting. I was up there one time. They got these small
Olin
sod
would love
houses and
that.
stuff.
Olin would be interested in that. Yeah.
Here's the other thing. You know, when you look back at Leif Erikson and talking about how he went to Vineland or whatever, and he talked about how these wild grapes grew. Now, some say that he wasn't talking about Newfoundland and Lancet Meadows. He was talking about down around Martha's Vineyard, that area, I believe, down in the United States. But here's the thing, like in Newfoundland, there is a ton of wild growing blueberries. They're everywhere. So, I mean, maybe his version of grapes where really he was talking about blueberries.
Who knows? It could be. I mean, I've seen the way that blueberries grow. They look similar. They look like small grapes.
Yeah, and in bushes, and I mean, they're all laid out. So like there's no end to them. Here in Newfoundland, you can go out and fill up bucket loads of blueberries pretty much anywhere. Oh, we're going to take a mouthful of drink. I think I just didn't shut up for 10 minutes or 15.
Oh, well, that's what we brought you on for.
Yeah, but that's the beauty, Dee, of everything being a mystery and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting.
I must say, yes.
All right. I just brought up the.
Very interesting. The whole thing of the lost history being something I've always been interested in because honestly, I've been challenged. I've been the challenge of world. I don't know. How can I say? It's a challenge to figure out where all of this fits together. But I know that it does. It challenges me.
Oh, I'm sure. But like it is, the powers they took their information, and it was only a handful of certain individuals that got to know the secrets, basically, of what was what, whether it be alchemy or if it was location, hidden places, different beings, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't thrown out to everybody, I wouldn't say.
Treasure. Liable to find a hidden cache of yarn. Yarn. No, I'm not making fun of it at all. Like I said, my father was a Mason. He was interested in all that stuff.
Yeah.
He was interested in all that stuff. I mean, that's what he had under the bed instead of porn.
There was a friend, actually, there's a buddy of mine I knew for years. He's probably about early, mid 60s. And I ran into him at a shop here a couple of years ago. And I used to see him all the time because I'd go off into the woods hiking and camping and whatnot or fishing. And he had a cabin up that way. I got yakking with him one day about something, and he brought up, I made a comment on symbols and all this kind of stuff. And he was a Mason, and he's a 32nd level Mason. So that's pretty much as high as you can go, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about as far as a normal person can go without being. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to work with the government. He's retired, but he said he was a Mason since he was young. So I guess that's when he said it. I never asked what the top level was, but I'm sure that's when I looked it up that it was. That was one of the highest that you can actually go.
Peppy says the rock with engravings in the area is in the area of Massachusetts. I am in Dighton Rock. New England Historical Society. Rock with engravings. Yeah. Anyway, he's talking about a rock with engravings. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with symbols and that. Yeah, Oak Island, apparently there was a rock that once they get down, I think, to 90 feet, there was a rock that was that disappeared that had symbols and whatnot on it. But here in Newfoundland, there's also two places up in the northern peninsula. There's a rock that I seen pictures of that got symbols on it. Down in Placentia Bay, where I told you all these 365 islands there, where O'Gearan was with this treasure supposedly and whatnot, there's another small island called Haystack. and it's in Haystack when you pull into where the harbor, where you go with the boats, probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 feet, depending on the height of the tide. There's symbols and carvings into the rock there as you go into that little harbor that got really weird symbols. But you know, the funny thing is like you don't hear the archaeology. Like I've seen a lot of the pictures of it and stuff like that on different sites, but you don't hear the archaeologists and the government coming out talking about that stuff. So I mean, if that's something that links to past historic whatever, and we weren't taught it, more than likely they're not going to teach it. You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I put you to sleep.
I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to trace a thread back. I'm viewing something.
Oh,
It took me somewhere. What you were talking about took me somewhere, and I was looking at it, but I can't tune it in. Oh,
it's
well,
probably the symbols on the rock.
yeah. Micah says 33 is the highest known to the public, but we think we're pretty sure there are higher levels. And Chris says, I was going to college for archaeology before my disability made me quit. This is my thing we are talking about now. Well, Chris,
Yes.
why don't you come in and talk too?
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting.
Come on in and talk.
I had another point to make. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
No, you go ahead. Keep talking. I'll let you know when it pops into my head here.
Okay, because really, they don't want to rewrite human history. They've already rewritten human history once, right? They don't want to rewrite it the right way. They don't want to write human history. They don't want to set it right. That's the problem.
Yeah, they don't want to say that they're wrong by making it right.
Yeah, they don't want to admit that they were ever wrong.
And you know, Dee, that's the thing that hopefully, where we're becoming more aware as a society, or people are trying. I mean, a good bit of people out there now. I mean, I'm sure there's an awakening of sorts where they will question more things, and they have been questioning more things.
Sure. I'm sure.
And hope, yeah.
No, really, you're right. People have probably had more time since COVID to look at things, to really look at things. Unfortunately, the truth is being denied them, is being, whisked away from them as fast as possible.
Yeah, so sad.
But yeah, it's probably tantalizing to some people, and some people are just as closed as they've ever been.
Yeah.
I've talked to some of my friends. They're just as closed as they've ever been about everything. They don't want to hear any of it. And it's funny because one person who doesn't want to hear much about anything, she's one of the ones that helped me break a case because of her knowledge of the area. Other than that, because back when she was doing some investigations, which she doesn't do anymore, and she doesn't really, it's so weird how many people, they believe in it, but they don't believe in it. We believe in it, but we can't really talk about it, type of thing, It's weird.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like, but hopefully, as time goes on, some of the ones that wrote history or tell it how they say it is, as they move along and another younger generation comes in to become powers that be, that they will correct mistakes, hopefully, and we'll all connect a lot more on different levels.
Well, it's funny because somebody was saying, John Levy was saying, I don't know if you guys remember A Boy and His Dog, that short story. It was by Harlan Ellison. I mentioned it before. I got to meet Harlan Ellison.
Yeah.
Really intelligent fellow, but good writer, but very dark. A lot of his stories were just, pretty much all his stories were really dark, and a lot of them post-apocalypse. But the one that was so controversial was a boy and his dog because of the ending, and I won't spoil it for anybody. But honestly, it does look, when you see the movie that they made, it does look like a post-flood movie. It looks like, okay, they talk about how the Third World War didn't last very long. The Fourth World War only lasted 5 days. And then supposedly after that, there was this looked like a flood, and it buried everything. And you can see where they were digging it down in the dirt and the silt to find. You can see the shingles of house roofs, because that's what would be left is you digging, and then they'd go in and loot the houses. When they found one, they go down in there and loot everything they could out of it, and that was the way that they were living right after that. Well, that would be the way they would be living right after the mud flood.
Yeah.
Well, there's still buildings that are halfway buried. I mean, the Sphinx was buried up to its neck, practically.
Yeah, and more with erosion. But here's one quick point I wanted to touch on. Geez, I almost forgot it again. Like on that show, Oak Island, there a few years ago, there's a guy who was on the show, Pulser, or I forget his name now. But apparently he showed up and he had a Roman sword that was supposedly found in the waters off Nova Scotia, close to Oak Island. And he made claim basically that, well, the Romans were here and they may have put something in the way of treasure. They've been here and they've partook in or done whatever. So that was one of his theories on top of Sir Francis Bacon or whatever. And I mean, basically everyone bashed him. Go on, you silly fool. Yeah, I'm sure now the Romans were there and they left the sword out in the water. But I thought about that, and then it dawned on me that I went back into the Newfoundland archives for archaeological stuff. And off the northern peninsula of Newfoundland, which is just down from where Leif Erikson discovered their setup there as Vikings. Yeah, not far from that, a small town called Port de Choix. A lot of people over time, it's a fishing village, people start digging up their properties, and they were digging up a lot of the graves of Paleo Eskimos and Native peoples. And so back in the 60s, I think it was, in the early 70s, an archaeological team went up and people were saying, okay, well, I found this out in my garden when I was building my shed. They were handing bones and all kinds of bad stuff. But in one of the graves that they figure goes back like X number of thousands of years, there's a little Roman lamp. I mean, it's online. You can go in and look at the archaeological digs and stuff like that in Newfoundland, and it actually shows the picture of a small Roman lamp where you would burn oil or whatever. So if Newfoundland has a Roman lamp buried in a grave going back a couple of thousand years or whatever, why couldn't there be a Roman sword off the coast of Nova Scotia, which is the next province over from us? I mean, there was no mention of that. So we had two Roman artifacts supposedly within a certain small area off of North America. So, but you know something, like I said, it's modern historians and archaeologists and whatnot, people who want to hear tell of anything that's going to change the current paradigm or whatever way they word.
Well, it seems to me like if there was this culture here before that had a high technology, although very different from the one we have now, and they could, there is indications that they could teleport wherever they wanted to. They could get wherever they wanted to pretty fast. If you wanted to take the slow way, you'd take an airship or maybe a train. There's some indication that they actually dug out the train tracks instead of building them themselves. That the train tracks were already there. They just dug them out. So Yeah, they could be anywhere. I mean, and if these star forts were all over the earth, and people have proven, yes, they are all over the earth, the same kind of building all over the earth, then there was absolutely a worldwide civilization. If there was worldwide civilization that could travel anywhere they wanted to, you
Yeah,
could find anything anywhere.
yeah, that's pretty crazy, and that's like you spoke about the Sphinx. Um, you had the geologist in Robert Schoch. He teaches at the University down in Boston, I believe. He was over, and he said that the wear and tear on the Sphinx so far up is from erosion, and that at one point there was active water or waves that were beating off the side of it, and that's what eroded part of the Sphinx. But
Yeah.
when I mentioned a couple of times about how I was seeing these different cat type symbols and whatnot, or these creatures that look like cats. I
Mhm.
mean, maybe this planet was a planet where very high technological animals or spirit beings or whatever, being cats, inhabited the world, the Earth. And I mean, that being so, maybe the Sphinx was really a lion's head, and that was a symbol of power and everything that stood for the species of being a cat. You know what I mean? As a lion.
Well, the Tartarian sphinxes
Yep.
were often women, the head of a woman, and the body of a cat, and sometimes the wings
Oh,
of an eagle. So
okay.
quite often, and it would sometimes even have, it would often even have women's breasts. It would have the breasts and the head, and sometimes it would have arms, but sometimes not. Sometimes it would have just the legs of the cat and the wings of an eagle, and it was there were also some symbols in Egypt that were pretty weird. It's like women's breasts with bull horns on top of that growing out of that. It's beautiful sculpture, but a little weird. And
Yeah.
but it's all symbolism. It's like symbolic of like, for instance, the breast one would be symbolic of nurturing, nourishment, and nurturing. The it could be symbolic. It could be that some of these were real creatures. The idea of chimeras or creatures that are composite animals. Composite animals, we see versions of that all over the place through all everybody's mythology. I mean, everything from, once again, the griffins to even some of the heraldic dragons were composite animals. They were not the same as the Oriental dragons and the dragons in South America. They were not the plumed serpents. They were a whole different creature entirely, and they were a composite animal. So there's more than one kind of dragon that we're talking about, even in when we're talking about the world of dragons
Yeah.
and other cryptids. But in cryptids too, they had some pretty weird cryptids that they talk about too. I'm getting choked by something. I'm going to have to get something to drink. I'm going to let
Yep.
Todd take it away. I'm going to put the link in here if somebody wants to come in and talk a little bit. You don't have to show yourself. I'm going to get something to drink though, because otherwise I'm going to cough through this whole thing.
Boy, are you going, or you'll be back in a minute?
I'm just going to be back shortly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not leaving you forever, Todd. Okay. I'll be
Magical.
back. If anybody comes in, if any poodles come in, you know what to do.
Yeah. So while you're gone, I'm just going to touch on. I don't know about how many people are familiar with or heard of. I think it's in northern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, which is a place where they uncovered basically a small area or a large area where there's all kinds of large pillars with animal carvings and whatnot. I'm trying to think now. I watched the documentary. Graham Hancock done one, and he was talking about Göbekli Tepe and how it's probably, or they figured out that it's older than what the symbols, pyramids, or whatever in Egypt. It's very close by, and how the Egyptian government, the archaeological side, which is Hawass, I think is his last name. Yeah, he basically doesn't have the time and the time of day for discussion on Göbekli Tepe because he feels that what is in Egypt has been there longer and has more importance. Can you guys hear me okay? Linda or anybody? Linda. Linda or anybody? You still there, Chris? Senor Jarvis, are you there? Linda Bennett. Micah. Hey, Peppy. Yeah, I don't know what to be talking about, Peppy, other than some of the strange things that first happened to me. Probably one thing that stood out when I was with the ex-wife. I decided to do some renovations
I
with
put
the
some
house.
water on to boil so I could have some tea, so I could clear my throat. Pappy says we hear you, Todd. Keep rolling.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying one of the first weird things that I saw. I had a handful of these rocks showed up. So I took the rocks and I went in on my table and I laid them down and I looked at them and they're about a little bit less, probably about a quarter or half the size of my hand, were the biggest ones. And I was looking at these rocks and one looked like a cat, and the other one looked like a cow or a bear, say, for example, different animals. So I laid them on the table and I was looking at them. So I went back to painting and whatnot and I took a break. So I stood back with my camera and my phone to take a picture of the cabinets. As I held my phone up, I seen this see-through type creature. I couldn't see its face because it was it had a gown on, something like you see in the Grim Reaper. It wasn't. It didn't have no color other than when I took a picture after. I may still actually have the picture. You can see where it was like it was a spark of electricity, and you can see the outline of a hood over its head. So what it was, I don't know, but that was one that, as I was looking at it to take a picture of what I was painting, I clicked the exact same time as I seen it go by on my screen, but I couldn't see it by looking straight ahead over the screen, which is kind of weird. So I don't know if that's some sort of a thing that's known in the world of the unknown, something that wears a hood or like a cape with its face buried or covered. Where did Dee go? She took off again. Hello, hello.
I gotta say, the dandelion tea suggestion was great. It is very cleansing, but you guys
Dandelion tea.
dandelion tea.
Yeah,
There,
I still got to send you. I still got to send that chaga to you.
that's right.
I got to go to the supermarket and pick up some heavy baggies where I can put so much in and then tape it and seal it up.
Yeah.
So it looks just like coffee, and it's just chaga tea and
Dried.
ground for.
It's a dried product, so it couldn't be too heavy, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not going to put too much in there because it's sending mail from Canada to the United States is just ridiculous.
How much is it, Todd? Let me know.
Oh, I don't know. Don't worry about that. I'll send it. I'll cover it. I'm just saying that the post office here in Canada are just off the wall ridiculous when it comes to sending stuff.
Gee, I wonder how much that means Bommy's shoes are going to take.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I sent
I'm going
I
tomorrow.
sent Bomber
Mommy
up the
better
phone, the phone that I had. So
Huh?
Canada Post, for me to send a phone in a box, it cost like $28. They said it'd be there in 2 days. It showed up like 7 or 8 days later.
Oh Lord.
So for paying for priority, you think they would have told you
Oh,
when you went to the post office, sorry, but it might be delayed due to COVID. They never said that. They're just like, oh yeah, it'll be there in 2 days.
you get a
And when I
phone
paid them,
from the States or just send a phone to the States?
no, I just sent it across to another part of Canada.
Oh, you mean just to Canada, another part of Canada?
Yeah,
Oh,
Bomber's in another
Lord.
part of Canada. Like
Bomber.
that's what you do. Yeah, I sent her a phone. Remember, I just said. I don't know if you heard me.
Oh, I didn't know it was Bomber you sent it to. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. Wow.
What did Chris say?
Okay.
I sent Bam some chaga. You got chaga, Chris?
What?
I'm just reading the chat. Just popped up on my TV screen. I didn't realize I could see it from here.
Yeah.
It says I sent Bam some chaga. Oh, yeah, you can get chaga at the health store, but
So Chris Jarvis already sent her some chaga.
yeah, no, I'm sending some to you, and I'm sending some to
Chris is saying shoes will probably cost about $35. Holy
what
crap.
from the US to Canada.
Oh, holy crap.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes you're sending something in the mail that costs you more in mail than what the value of it is. You know what I mean?
Well, these are good shoes. I mean, they're nice shoes, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I've seen them. They're really nice.
about what they cost. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Now
about
the
what they
United
cost.
send something in the States to Canada. I think it's a lot cheaper. But I'm going to send some some of the chaga to you and Linda. So when you get it, you only got to use a small amount on the teaspoon. Just put it in, boil the water, pour it in. I put a little bit of sugar or whatever you want to put onto it, and
Oh, I'll
drink
probably
it like
put it in
tea.
hot chocolate or coffee or something.
Yeah, but that's the thing with chaga too. Like these native peoples over in Russia back in the government done a study on these people that were living, I guess, in Mongolia or these normal higher climates, colder climates. They found that some people in this area were actually living to 90 and 100 years old in some cases, where your normal like longevity numbers in other colder or cold climates in different parts of the world, uh, they're probably living to 60 or 70 or 80 at the most. And they attribute it basically to using chaga, which is that mushroom that grows on a birch tree, which looks like a big black blob of burnt dog poop.
Yeah.
So the inside tan color stuff, the lighter inside is that's designed to like take blotching away from the skin or anything to do with damages to the skin or whatever the case may be. And the black stuff I think is used for like cleansing your inner organs. It's an anti-inflammatory. But just to tell you, when I first took it, I used it about a week and a little bit or a few days. I used to go to bed and my feet would be frozen. I guess my circulation was just harsh. So I once I started using that, these my feet used to be feel like they're on fire. I used to shove them outside the blanket. It helped me pretty much. I eliminated my inhalers for over 2 months,
Well, that's
where I was using 1 and 2 a month for 40 years. And my back pain and stuff like that, it was an anti-inflammatory, so that made a bit of a difference when it became to being comfortable.
oh yeah, sure.
And yeah, so there's a bunch of different things. The Russian government actually, I think there's papers should be online. I think in the early 1900s or somewhere around, they were actually doing studies on this for curing different types of cancer. So it's super, super.
It's me.
What's that?
It wouldn't surprise me. I think there are probably many cures for cancer. As a matter of fact, I know there are.
Yeah.
I know there are many cures for cancer. And really, and none of them involve cutting you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
really.
the only one that involves cutting you is the one that allopathic medicine uses. Everybody else has better ways of doing that. I'm sorry to say. I'm just sorry to say. And, you know, I'm not
Yeah,
treating anything. However, I do have to say that everybody else has had results doing something other than cutting and burning and poisoning people.
yes, I
So
hear you.
it is quite possible.
Yep. And the good thing with this chaga too, I mean, they say the colder the climate, or when you get it, certain times of the year when it's colder is when it's the best. So I know some of the health stores have it, and it's not cheap in some places.
No, it's not. I've looked it up. It's not cheap, really. It's
Yeah. So I mean, I usually there's a woman actually I get off. She's a nurse, and where she lives, probably about 100 kilometers from me. It's an area with a large number of birch trees, and she goes out hiking and whatnot, and she probably takes a big giant chunk off a tree, brings it home, and dries it out, and then she grinds it up or cuts it into chunks once it's dry. And I forget what I paid. I think it was like £6, which is a lot for like $120 or $200, somewhere in that range,
wow, that
which
is
is a great deal because
a lot of dried mushroom. Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah, it's not it's not the type of thing where it's put somewhere where there's possible additives added to it and stuff to make commercial money off it. It's
Mhm.
just right off the tree, which is good when
Right,
it comes to French wise. I mean, chaga's good anyway, wherever you get
right.
it. But the pure wild chaga, supposedly.
And tigers mean deer. Don't you mean lions mean deer? Lions mean
Oh, lion's mane, yeah, that's
chaga and lions mane, yeah, or tiger's mane. He says, but I never heard of tiger's mane. But maybe there is. I don't know.
yeah. No, I heard of lion's mane.
Heard of lions mane. So yeah, that's so he is doing the tea. I don't know what's going on with you, Chris. Did Nolly's mother have a talk with your mom?
I didn't know Chris used chaga.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Got
Yeah,
it.
well, I mentioned that about a couple of weeks, a few weeks ago to you guys. I can't remember if you said anything about it.
Yeah,
No, that's cool.
lion's mane tea. He's often said he's told me he likes chaga in hot chocolate.
Yeah, I found with nothing added, the taste of chaga is almost to me is like you're getting a mouthful of fresh air. You get
Really?
that nice soothing mouthful of fresh air when you walk outside, and
Really?
to
I'm
me,
gonna have
that's
to
how it.
try it just by itself once then.
Yeah, I mean, I normally have it just by itself, but I do throw a bit of sugar in every now and again.
Well, I'm doing my best to get this inflammation down. I've done a lot of things to cut inflammation, and yet I know part of it is um, an uncared for. I mean, basically, if you have non-clinical thyroid issues, they just wait until it starts to strangle you before they do anything. That
Yeah,
may
I
be
hear you.
part of the coughing that I have, coughing problems that I have. If it swells just a little bit, it probably gives me. But, they won't do anything about it. And then what they do is anymore, they don't treat it with Armour Thyroid like they used to and the iodine. Kill it, leave it in you, dead. And
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, this is what they did to MCAT. Leave it in you dead and then give you either Synthroid or something like that. And you're on that the rest of your life. And then later on, that has side effects and they'll give you stuff for those side effects, but that will eventually give you a heart attack.
yeah. Well, you will find that this chaga is going to help you when it comes to any
Hopefully the
swelling or
child will.
inflammation.
I'm hoping that I can get my thyroid back without them doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Because, I am convinced that really they treat thyroid now in a crazy fashion.
Yeah, I
Crazy
hear you.
as hell. I mean, I don't want anything to do with it. I
Yeah,
I want to keep my freaking thyroid alive. And you know what? It gives me nightmares to think of. Have some
Yeah.
dead organ in your body?
Yeah, really. I just wanted to say I can see. Good night, Pappy. He said, "Need to
Oh,
run."
Peppy going to take off. Ah, okay. Take care, Pappy, and have good dreams.
Yeah. Once I get talking, I don't shut up, as you can hear.
Oh, there's no problem with it. We like it.
So, in order for me to see the chat, I can see the chat on the TV, but I'm listening to you and talking to you on the phone because once I
Okay.
go on here, I can't see any of the chat when I'm on the phone.
Right. You can't once you go on the StreamYard. Yeah, you've got to look on the stream, on the actual YouTube itself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very thankful that you came in and said all that and that you're sending me some shaga. I only feel bad that the postage is going to be so much.
No, don't worry about that. I'm sorry about the delay. Like I said, we had snow and we had rain and whatnot, and I didn't get out much. So I'll run to the supermarket tomorrow, and I'll.
I better take some money with me tomorrow when I mail, but I need her address because if I don't mail her shoes tomorrow, it may be a whole nother week before I get a chance to mail her shoes out.
Yeah.
So I need her address, folks.
I don't know if they actually do they delay delivery for like a day or two with the COVID restrictions.
I have no idea what they're doing right now. I know that the last I heard, the lineup, the wait line at the post office was half an hour.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's no half hour here. It's just we just got a small post office, and most of the time you go in, it's not busy at all. So
Mm-hmm.
now that being said, Christmas it was different over Christmas and just before Christmas. That's where all the delays were. But I don't know why they charged me when I paid like $28 so that the item would arrive at the other location within 2 days. So I was paying a priority amount.
So
And as soon as I go on, as soon as I went on to track the number, their message was due to COVID and change conditions of blah blah blah. You cannot be expected to receive your item within the allotted amount of time, and they put like 8 or 9 days there when I paid for 2 days.
Huh.
So why didn't they tell me that when I went to send it and say, okay, well here, just send it regular and it costs you $7 or something?
Right. Why didn't they just say that?
Yeah, the post office. So if you want it there quicker.
Yeah, I think that's horrible.
It is. That's misrepresentation.
Taken off. Some people might be taken off to SOR. So, and because it is past 12 now, so I think maybe some folks are running off to SOR.
What's SOR?
SOR is spaced out radio.
Oh.
I'll probably.
Yeah, no, I hadn't been on there. I know Bomber mentioned a couple of times about it and chat there. I think
they have different stuff on there. I'm probably Corrance has already said when I get ready, shoot them a line, and probably I will be on there at some point. But they've been kind of doing little call outs to me because there was one time when Dave made a point to say, now I've been through 3 changes of hats. I've changed my hat, 3 wardrobe changes, and he was changing his hats. And then I came in there and I said something to Corrance, and he called me De-Ocean the Conscious. It's like, well, it's maybe hard to stay conscious sometimes, but I do it. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I enjoyed watching a lot of the older episodes of Art Bell with the Coast to Coast. Some of the older shows going back to the 90s.
I remember those. Whoa.
Yeah. I enjoyed some of the topics that were really good.
They were good.
And then there was others that were just totally out to lunch.
Linda said the mail should get better. They threw all the ballots away.
Yeah. That's crazy. I can't see that happening in Canada. If there was something up like that, like they just shut everything down and I'm assuming do a restart because they're when
Mike,
it comes to scrutineers or whatever. I mean, that's
Mike,
something that's watched.
Mike is going to bed, so we're gonna have to say goodnight to Micah and Greenwell. Micah, we need to do. You know what? Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow I should be able to get a little rest, come in, not be yawning, and maybe we can do some rocking and rolling before Portal comes on tomorrow to do some healing. I'll
Seems
see
like
how I
Portal
do.
is the thing, hey?
Portal, we missed Portal totally. We were in here gabbing.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't know. I enjoy like Brent. Isn't the guy that does the show? He's a nice
Well,
lad.
Brent's a great guy, and the show is full of nice people. But yeah, it is just reading stuff.
Well, that's the way I see it. So I say hi to everybody. Then I just feel like,
Okay,
that topic's
and
nice. This topic's
I love
easy.
you guys, and I'll keep doing it this way as long as I can do it this way, and
Yes.
as long as it stays interesting, and we keep having things. I don't think we'll ever run out though, because I have like a ton of experiences, and then I'm sure all of you guys have a ton of experiences, and
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to run out of subject matter ever. So.
No, for sure. I could take my experiences and chop them down into probably a 10-part series for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know. Mine, I'm probably going to have to write a book someday. Probably going to be writing a book at some point or maybe a series. It's just a lot of really weird stuff has happened to me in my life, and it doesn't end either. It hasn't ended. It's still going on. So they shouldn't have made so much money on me. That really just pisses me off that they made you do that. That sucks. Hey, Todd, I really appreciate you coming on. I think I'm going to call it quits now. And I usually fall asleep at SOR.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to actually I'll probably hit the bed and turn it on for a couple of minutes and have a listen. It's it's like 1:50 here.
Yeah, I usually fall asleep with it on. Not because it's boring, but just because it's so damn late.
You're subconsciously absorbing what's going on in the show in your sleep.
Corrance, one time he told Dave, he said, Dave, Ocean said that your show puts her to sleep. And Dave said, surplex her immediately. That's a wrestling move. And I'm like, he just wants to see if I had my money in my double D's. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
You fall out, hope that falls out all over the floor. Anyway, by the way, no, I don't. I don't hide my money there. I hide it somewhere else. So there.
Yeah, okay. I gotta say goodnight to Chris and Linda and whoever else may be there if they're still there.
Chris and Linda are the only ones left here, I think, and you and me. So love you all, and thank you so much for coming. And it was interesting, but now I have just had it. I've been doing my best to not fly away all night.
Bomber just popped in.
Oh, Bomber figures at the very end.
Yeah, when I came on chatting, I didn't have no topic that was laid out in my mind a certain way. That's why I was making so many delayed mistakes in information.
Bomber, you always come in right at the end. If I didn't know better, I think it was a plan. But anyway, I'm gonna take off for SOAR and probably fall asleep there. And then don't you put anything funny in my mouth if I snore. I'll be mad.
Okay, good night, people. And on that note, Dee is going to tell us of making waves.
That's right, I am. And I'm going to say thank you all for being here. I really have enjoyed your input tonight, and it's always wonderful when people come in and have their stories, and it's my favorite thing. So Truth is where you find it. I hope you're finding it here. I'm sure finding it with you guys. I mean, you are part of that. And this is Ocean Making Waves. So go out and make some of your own. And for those of you who are toddling off to bed, may you have the best possible dreams. And if they're really good ones, let us know. Anyway, yeah, do tell. Okay, I love you guys. Oh, quit that. Quit that, Bomber. You're going to make me hungry again, and then I'm going to have to cook something. Okay, put my questions on MeWe, sweetheart. I'll talk to you on MeWe. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually. Apples and peanut butter and half a grilled cheese. And I had, what did I have? I don't even remember what I had. Oh, but I had some Polish beets. Boy, they were good. My friend makes really good Polish beets. Really good. And it was pretty healthy. Yeah, it was a sandwich. It was a ham sandwich with provolone on whole wheat and some Polish beets. It was good. It was yummy. So on that note, see, yeah, I think I hear some hot cocoa and popcorn calling to me. Love you. See you next time. And sleep well.